We went on a 50 miler and we were following the trail along 2 days out. And all of a sudden, we broke through the woods, and I'd never seen land torn apart as bad as that land was there on that mountain. It was atrocious. I never heard of it happening before. And here I was on a mountain, strange mountain, following the trail, and the trail gave out to this torn up land. Stumps going in every different direction, track marks everywhere for Sunday, no trees standing. And it was cut square, a rectangle, in the woods.
Real.
Just torn out. I saw this patch of woods on the other side of it, and I walked across this area, and this area was that quarter mile wide or something like that. And I walked across it to this other patch of tree, and I found the trail there. I managed to find the trail. I called the troop. They moved across that torn up land. We went 100 yards, and we were into it again.
Good.
Another patch of it.
Good.
This time, I never did find the trail out of it. And somehow or other, we managed to find our way out of that mess, and we even ended up where we were supposed to be.
True.
But that's when I learned that that had been clear cut. And right then and there, I drew a definite dislike for clear cut.
True.
And what it does to the land. It ruined the mountains. So I'm an environmentalist. Now, we have come from the days when we could use our ingenuity. Example.
Sure.
Right here.
Right.
This was a common cup when I was a scout. Every Boy Scout carried one, or we even carried collapsible ones. We liked the ones that would collapse down and telescope out. Or this was a common cup. And many times we drank out of the same cups in those days. Modern cup, this one, where they can cook a meal in over a small portable flame. They don't have to build fires anymore because fires can destroy the land. And it also means that you're burning up underbrush and other things. So we no longer can use squaw brush. You don't go out and find squaw brush to build fires. In fact, I doubt if they even know what the term squaw brush is anymore. But we use squaw brush all the time. And modern scouts are taught different than that. Modern scouts are taught to take everything out that they take in. We could bury it. We could bury it. We were taught to use how to make cat holes. And nowadays, I don't know just quite how they do it anymore. But I don't think that you can leave feces on the trail.
Certainly not in the middle of the trail going into your campsite.
Yeah. That's correct. Campsite. But, you know, scouting changes because times have changed. We've got more population. When I first came west, Las Vegas was only 27,000 population.
You're right.
Now it's a million.
What was scouting like? What was the picture of scouting when you came to this area?
The picture of scouting basically that I got involved in was a separation. of the LDS units off by themselves and not involved in the districts. I feel real good to think I had a hand in bringing the LDS units into the districts, and they each contribute to each other like they should. And the LDS have leadership that training. They have trained people that can help with the districts. And the districts have trained people that can teach them, the LDS, how to be good scholars. This is one of the biggest news that I myself have witnessed here. Now, Scout personnel is changed. That's another thing I've witnessed change. Where the Scoutmasters, when I came here, were all men. And then I remember when the first woman became a Scoutmaster. I knew her personally. She was a real nice woman.
Perfect.
But then she was even on the commissioner staff, and that really surprised me.
Sure.
The men are not involved in Scouting like they used to be.
Sure.
They don't find the reward in Scouting. Some people have said that Scouting has become outmoded, not keeping up with the times. The big disappointment I've had in this area, and that most Scouters have had in this area, is the Register Guard will give front columns to six or eight anarchists who go off on a rampage, sit in trees or fight the sheriff, fight the police, go up to Seattle and start riots. But you put 300 and some odd boys over at a camporee doing productive things and learning how to compete one with another and how to learn to live together and to live. And the Register Guard won't even send a report.
Yes.
There's not even a blip in the Register Guard that camporee happened. 300 and some odd boys were over there doing good things.
Sure.
Instead, they like to register on 6 or 8 anarchists. That is one of the saddest parts of this area that we've had to say about this area.
Correct.
There are those of us who were Scouts.
Lack of community support, you mean?
In many ways, I say yes. Community support is not there like it used to be. I don't think that people feel as rewarded for being Scouters and teaching boys how to be good citizens. And citizenship is the key.
And I would wager it's nothing that has happened in Scouting. It's more of what has changed about society or the community makeup in general.
The society itself, of course, the community reflects society.
So,
and with the breakup of the family, we have a lot of it being reflected in Scouting. Now, we've still got good men that are trying very hard to give good Scouting, and good women who are trying to give good Scouting to the boys.
Yep.
Like,
God. What would you say is the greatest challenge to Scouting in this area? And what would you think could be a solution to that challenge?
if community values, and one of the things that is really prominent, of course, is the fact that you have 2 different communities here. And by this I mean Eugene and Springfield are different. We're more basic over here in Springfield, and they're more liberal in Eugene. They may say, well, they're more intellectually inclined over there. I don't agree, because I feel like I can match intellectual inclination with the best of them. But, and I know quite a few that can, who have degrees like I do. Match. But values, community values, are changing. And this is the reason why Scouting isn't as well received. I honestly believe the Register Guard has a lot to do with it. I'm no too much of an help between Japan and great adherent of idolizing people who are law abiding. I think that there should be a column, for instance, a daily column in the Register Guard upholding those who are law abiding and doing good things in the community, rather than just those who go out and see how much trouble they can create in the community.
You know, while you're talking, it occurs to me that sometime back when you first started in the Scouting, it was well received and integrated in the school system. And that's not the case anymore. Is that correct?
We are bending over backwards to integrate all people. I will be the first to admit that there are many things that I myself am glad to see changed from the time I was a young man to what I see now. I see things that I saw things in school when I was in school.
You were an elementary school teacher, or middle or high school?
I was a junior high and high school teacher, and a high school counselor. And I saw things back. I lived in the South, in Texas. I learned education, or segregation, I should say. I learned segregation. But that wasn't the only evil we had at that period. Kids who were different, just like a chicken in a hen lot. I saw a chicken in a hen lot who had lost all the feathers off her head and her throat. And her tail feathers had all been pulled out, and she was really abused by the whole flock. She was taken out of the flock and put in the backyard of a house. Turns out that chicken was an Americana. A very beautiful chicken. When she drove back all her feathers, she was totally different than other chickens. She laid a blue egg. But she had beautiful feathers. She had tufts coming out from her side there, tufts under her stuff. But because she was different, all the other chickens pecked on her. When I was going to school, to be left-handed was evil. It was evil. People today don't realize how lucky it is not to be considered evil-handed because you're left-handed, whereas in my day they did. I've seen a principal who 3 boys jumped on another boy because he had psoriasis and beat up on him. And then that boy turned and fought back. The principal took him into the office and looked at the 3 boys and said, "You mean you 3 couldn't handle him?"
Right.
That doesn't happen in schools nowadays.
Sure. Do you have the time to?
So there's been a lot of good that has come, but the pendulum never settles in the middle.
Interesting.
Right.
The pendulum goes either from here, and back.
Simply, yes, Graham.
Interesting. Good point.
And in scouting, we have had to face the same problems. It would be nice to be conservative and lock things in the way they were on certain things. But we don't realize that if we go back and lock in on that, we can bring back the other areas which really do not belong in scouting or belong in interaction with other people.
Now, what is that? What are you speaking of?
Well, I'm speaking, for instance, of abusing a person because he's different. Peck order.
Right.
You have to accept other people for their differences now. In the old days, they didn't. So these are things. I saw a lot of abuse in scouting. Trying to get boys to conform. The group pressures to make a boy conform. And when as a scoutmaster, you come up against that, you have to battle it. But I have seen scoutmasters who encouraged it in the old days. So, I mean, we can't go back and say all was good in the old days.
Right.
And all was bad in the old days.
Yeah.
But our duties in life and in scouting is to bring the good with us, discard the things that were bad, and try to pick up and create more good.
How does that have an influence in scouting in the schools? Or could you speak about scouting in the schools? You know, the relationship with scout. That's been a significant change, that you can no longer recruit or.
The real difficulty goes back to a basic premise of scouting. Remember the statement I made earlier. BSA does not sponsor a unit.
Right.
A sponsoring institution can be a school, it can be a church, synagogue, it can be a fraternal order. The Elks and the lodges have always been good sponsors of scouts, promoting good scouting. When you come into these institutions, each institution has their own rules and bylaws. BSA cannot change the rules and bylaws of the institution. If the institution's bylaws agree with BSA, then they can sponsor a BSA unit.
So first,
BSA has its own standards out here, and they have to be inculcated by those who are sponsoring the unit.
Okay.
If the sponsoring institution cannot inculcate this premise out here into their premise, then they can't sponsor BSA.
Right.
So BSA has a standard. If the schools find themselves in conflict with those standards, then they should not be sponsoring the BSA units. We are bending over backwards in the United States. We're a society in transition. And this society in transition is a good thing. It doesn't mean everything that comes from that transition is going to be proper and good. It just means that we as a society have to sift through and determine what we want as our morals and mores.
Right.
And then we have to live by these as we establish them.
What was very
Mores and morals have not always been the same. They may not have always been good.
blend?
But every community throughout the nation, throughout the centuries, have established their own moral codes
Is it?
and mores, which are made often the mores of the community.
Then different.
Consequently, BSA has just a written policy,
To
and the communities can accept it or reject it.
great, but the very good.
But BSA is independent of this other.
Right.
So if the schools feel that they cannot support the institution of BSA, then they don't sponsor it.
Right.
This is the relationship of BSA always with the community.
And temperature line.
We are having some very big difficulty because so many things like left-handedness
Maintenance.
were abused in the past when there was really no cause for it.
For temperature.
We had the difficulties in the South, a separate but equal, and we found we could not make it equal, and that's the reason why the abuse was there. Equal means equal. Equal opportunity under the law is what the Constitution says. When we do not have an equal opportunity, then we are not following the principles of our democracy. That doesn't mean that we all have to ascribe to the philosophies of the individuals, but they should have equal opportunities to earn a living and to provide for their family and live in peace and harmony. Now, I'm a sociologist, so they're catching a lot of sociology, right?
Right. I follow you.
And this is a very key role. Now, a society in transition is a society that's trying to deal with its own problems.
Look at this. And turn it to.
But like the pendulum, the society in transition never settles in the Senate. Because the minute that pendulum stops, then the transition no longer exists.
For a first.
And it becomes frozen in time.
There were scouts in the schools in this area.
I don't know what they're doing at the moment.
Currently, no. Now, that would be very different from the way you remember it, I'm sure.
They're probably different than what I knew when I was used to be able to go into a scout. The scout trip could be sponsored by a middle school or a high school, whatever it was then. And now they're finding themselves facing this dilemma over homosexual rights when the scouts do not ascribe to it. Well, our church doesn't ascribe to it either. We allow a person to be themselves, but they cannot practice in the church. They can be homosexual, but they can't be practicing sexuals. And I know in the Army, we had a joke You never been over to pick up the soap in the shower and so forth. But if a person's ever been set up for homosexual come in contact with it, they didn't want how you contact again.
Right.
And you don't want to give the opportunity to let your child be exposed to that when he's only a child.
Right.
If you want to be exposed to it, want him to have the opportunity, wait till he's old enough that he can make a determination himself what he wants. But don't put him in there as a viable use, a pliable use that be trained for and explode. We're hearing enough of that in the Catholic Church at this moment.
That's true.
Where exposure to it. And the same holds true with scouting. It's a serious thing. To me, it's very serious. Purpose.
Right. You were going to tell me about the wisest scout, scout widow.
I'm a scout widow. My wife, I go back to 1963, 64. We were engaged to be married.
Right.
And she was living in another state, and I was teaching school in California at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And she found that wedding gowns were costing an awful lot where she lived. And I found that I would get them for half price, just the same quality, where I live.
I'm very married to that.
So she came down to California where I was teaching. I went up to her and drove us out. We got to town, and in an hour, from the time we entered town, I had to leave her and go to a commissioner's conference. So I took her over to the house of another commissioner and left her with the wife of the other commissioner while we went off to scouting.
Mm-hmm.
Then when we got done with the meeting, we came back and met our wives and had dinner. That's a scout widow.
Yeah.
Right.
My wife,
But you have to.
accepted this. She said, as years went on when I was in the scout, she said, well, when you're in scout, out there doing scout work, I know you're not out there chasing after another woman or doing other things, so I don't mind. And she would be left home with the kids, trying to raise the kids and do the other things there. While I was out going to training.
Mm-hmm.
We go on wood badge training. When we went on our wood badge training, we were gone 3 weekends or 5 weekends in a row, something like that. And it was a lot of work left otherwise to go out 2 days a week or 3 days a week scouting and putting in 2-3 hours a night scouting. That took care of the house. Often they were really needing companionship or needing the help with the kids.
Right.
So,
That's right.
or most wives of scouters become what we call scout widows. And how they roll with the game, that also will determine how well the man can serve as a scouter.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife was, I could always say, was very supportive. My kids became quite supportive growing up that way.
Mm-hmm.
And when we go out on camp outs, a family camp out, we practice scouting.
Sure.
And my scouting, one family camp out, one 4th of July, we went onto a mountain and found 3 people under every tree in the developed camping areas. So I drove off and drove around till I got one on a real dirt road, logging road or something out there. Then I pulled up to a stop and looked around, and there was a spring I found down there that coming out of the ground. Well, we made our own camp.
And that's great.
Developed a spring and made our own latrine and set up our camp
That's beautiful.
I mean, it was a real great experience. But you can't do that now
But
because we have too many people.
still seems
Sure.
Everybody wanted children, then they wanted grandchildren, and so on and so forth. So the population has just expanded. We haven't had wars to kill us off. So consequently, they were populating our land. So we have to learn to live. This is the changing society. We have to learn to live in close proximity with other people.
true.
Times. I feel sorry for those who live in a heavy urban area like Los Angeles, Frisco, or New York, or those places there, that they can't get out. As my wife says here, we only have to go 15 minutes, we're in the woods.
It's all right.
So we live in a very, very fortunate area here in the Springfield, Eugene area.
Mm-hmm.
And most people here are environmentally oriented.
Really? That's
I find it very, very easy to live here.
Right.
People think the way I think.
Interesting, different perspectives, or the different points that you start from,
Yep.
and you find yourself really philosophically, in tune.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and my life's coming to an end now, but I'm glad to be in this area, and I'm glad that I raised my family here, and my kids will well, wherever they go in the world, this is home. And they think of the green of Oregon, or Western Oregon here. At this time of year, it's really a wonderful thing. And you fly in from the East Coast, and it's brown clean across the nation till you top out of the Cascades. And then you're looking down on the Emerald Valley. What a beautiful sight. And we, as stewards of the land, have a responsibility to take care of it. And this is where scouting comes in. Scouting teaches stewardship of the land.
You sorry about
That's true.
tools.
If we practice good scouting. Just because we wear the emblems does not mean we practice it.
So
We have to inculcate the philosophies of scouting into our everyday living. And when we do that, then we become good scouts.
already. What? It's like
You,
yeah.
you were sharing with me that you'd lived in Utah. You'd lived in Utah. Was it Utah or Nevada, or
I've lived both places.
Extends on it.
you were telling me about some news that you had just gotten, or you were telling me about some news that you were waiting on, or how did that get?
I was in a fallout.
Yeah,
I was in the nuclear test fallout
that was when.
down in southern Utah, 1955.
Anti-dudes. So
Probably several places, several times down there, but that can
anti. But
and that was a case of irresponsibility.
stand for 60 eggs on it. They bought Tuesday day.
What happened? Would you tell me?
Wind changed. They talk about it drifting across the uninhabited areas. Actually, there were people that were living in those uninhabited areas, quote unquote.
So
There was no place that you could actually be free of having people, even in those days.
no families.
And the wind shifted and carried it right across southern Utah, Nevada, and Utah, right across the communities.
For the
And then the government denied it. Now there's a fund set up for those of us that develop cancer
I'll take it. Sally six.
that
As
lived there during those fallout days. There's a relationship between
I'm in the hordes.
the first thing that happened to me, for instance, was I discovered to have lung cancer. And I said, why me? I tried to dodge that bullet. I don't smoke.
Or
Well, there's 5% of the people who get it who didn't smoke.
first.
95% is smoke related.
Yeah.
But I have all 5%. Well, they're finding such a high incidence among these people down there in southern Utah who don't smoke of lung cancer, that lung cancer is now considered to be part of the fallout problem.
Correct.
And so there will be a little compensation, we think. I've been assured that I qualify. My wife will give some compensation from the federal government.
Sure.
Fucking.
We have to be responsible campers. You can be a happy camper. I don't like to go out in the campground and have somebody come out there in the wilderness with these off-road vehicles with the inserts pulled out of the exhaust of the mufflers, scaring all the wildlife. I went out in the wilderness to see the wildlife, to follow Mother Nature, and her natural life. Instead, somebody comes in there with one of these off-road vehicles with the inserts pulled out of their vehicle, making such a noise that did no nature. That ruined my camping. We have to be responsible. We have to think of other people at all times. And whatever we do can affect other people.
There. Along with that.
So it is for us to become responsible campers.
Let me copy it.
And I think this is part of what scouting teaches too. One of the principles.
Oh, it was solid.
Not all for me and heck with you anymore. Well,
We've got so much here. I'm just curious about some.
take a look at that glory vest over there.
That's this one here,
Yeah.
right?
That's my glory vest.
Focus in on that.
I mean,
Look at that. Wow. Will you tell me about some of those?
Okay, Brendan.
Will you tell me about some of
The
those?
Long Beach Area Council, where I was that scoutmaster. Here's the Arrowhead Area Council. That's over by San Bernardino, where I was became a neighborhood commissioner.
Uh-huh.
There's a Troop 27 that I was the troop scoutmaster of. Utah National Parks Council. I worked in that. Desert Trail Council, Mountain View Area Council over in Idaho. My 50-miler patch.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
And all these are different things here, different patches at different times, different places I've been. Scout Expo.
True.
this so
There's the old patch of the district, assistant district commissioner.
I'll bet you there's a story behind each one of those.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Take this one right here. I was a commissioner in that area at that time, and we went out of Camporee,
It's the Saratoga.
Saratoga in Utah,
Uh-huh.
or Salt Lake Camper
Uh-huh.
area, down Salt there, and I was walking through camp. The wind was blowing about 40 miles an hour. Oh, it was a bad camp, rough camp.
yep.
And all of a sudden, I saw a flame shoot up inside a tent.
Oh my God.
I threw back the flaps on a tent, and that was when catalytic heaters were just coming out. And this scoutmaster had 6 boys in this tent,
Oh my God.
and they had lit the catalytic heater, and it flared up just like that. And I saw that, and I immediately grabbed that catalytic heater, spun around, and set it outside before it caught the tent afire.
That's amazing.
I went then walked a little further, and the ground was so hard the scout troop couldn't set up their camp. And here, Scoutmaster had them in a station wagon,
Uh-huh.
but he had lit a Coleman lantern.
Oh my
in there
God.
with the windows rolled up.
Oh my God.
There are lots of experiences like that, where this is my beaver patrol. I was in the beaver patrol in the at the Wood Badge.
Oregon Trail Council.
Yep, they're the Oregon Trails Council. This little pin right here,
I was wondering about that. Let me see.
that little pin, can you see it?
What I can do is, let me get up close here.
No. This little pin right there is Alpha Phi Omega, which is the National Boy Scout Service Fraternity in college.
Uh-huh.
And I had pledged that. This is my old neighborhood commissioner badge. We used to wear on the lapels.
Uh-huh.
Now here are those keys. I wondered where my keys were.
Oh, okay.
There's the keys.
Yeah, I can get close. Okay, I can get closer.
This is a scouter. And this one here is my neighborhood commissioner key. And this one is my scouter's A, my 3 years in scout outside of being a scouter.
Now that was from down in California, or that was here?
Now, this one I gained here. I had this before I came here.
I see.
Now, this one is a camp master over at Camp Baker.
Let's see that.
Over in Florence. I was a camp master. I'd go over there once a month on a weekend with my family.
Uh-huh.
And I'd assist any troop that came in there to setting up camp and being able to carry out scout programs there that they wanted to on the weekends.
The Cascade District. Looking at all these beach area council.
Now this one is a traded patch. I got this from a German unit.
Promise.
Uh-huh.
I traded that one.
It was so very good.
This one here is the patch that camporee I took my troop on in 1960.
So,
That was the one with the trail.
That was out at
where they built the latrine on the trail.
Oh no. This one was out there at La Brea Park tar pits.
Oh, I see.
So this is the glory vest, as they call it. This is the old scouter's jack. Every scout leader wore these, the red jack.
Uh-huh.
Designated the leaders so the boys could find them.
the Oregon man,
So look at all those neckerchiefs you have.
This is my wood badge. This is where you spend a lot of time in the woods. As one man put it, you went out there and learned to be a boy.
Yeah.
But it was actually an adult program for adult program of the boys program, an adult version, so that you can better lead the boys.
Yeah.
And this is the neckerchief that goes with it.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
That was wood badge.
Yes, I think or I like to.
One of the things as a scoutmaster,
But then the post like
a lot of times the troop develops their own.
yeah.
There's my training badge when I training neckerchief when I was going on wood badge. You'll see the wood badge insignia there.
Uh-huh.
The
And incidentally, is my wood badge belt. This was given to me by a friend who just passed away, Jerry Rice. He was very active in scouting here.
As a matter of fact, I heard about that. Do you know Bill Kent?
I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's a good friend, and he was telling me about Jerry's.
Well, Jerry was my assistant when I was temporary chairman.
Really?
And Jerry and I were in the same patrol in wood badge.
Oh, I see.
So Jerry, and I'm very sorry, didn't hear Jerry's funeral. At the time I was in Undivided. So, but these are many of the different.
Can you guys take a break and
Yeah, I'm about done. Now this was when I was a scoutmaster I've been a Scoutmaster twice, and this is what we call a double neckerchief.
Wow, yeah, I noticed that it's extra large.
Now, the reason for that, we like to teach the boys how to use a neckerchief. And this
for
was
a split, for a,
yeah, we could make a sling out
a
of it.
sling, right,
We could make a sling out of it.
right, right. I recognize that right off.
That's why we have double neckerchiefs.
Emptiness. But
Okay, well that gives you a pretty good insight into scouting, I hope.
Sure it does.
But you know, there's a lot of personal opinions in that too. If you can see, I see this is my last uniform.
Let's see here.
Nice way.
Return to Brownsea.
I saw.
Yeah, that was a Brownsea is where the first camp was held by Baden Powell over in England.
Uh-huh. Look, it said it was Troop 81.
Yep, that's a LDS unit over here, Springfield.
Uh-huh.
But I was pretty well recognized and accepted as a scholar.
You know, I would think just final thoughts here. Kind of sum it up and wrap it up.
Beg pardon?
I think just some a final thought to kind of sum it up and wrap it up.
Okay.
Was there you know, because I'd like to be able to share, or if you'd like to share some thought with the scouts in this area today, some advice or some encouragement or praise or personal thought, you know, that you want to just.
Scouting will only be what you put into it. But if you want to get something out of scouting, it's there for you. It'll depend on you, not your scout leaders, how much you gain from it.
It should take a bit.
And how you apply it in your life
I'll have it.
is going to be the telling story of whether scouting has helped you or not. If you are a scout, you live by the scout oath and law.
Yeah.
You should conduct your whole life according to a scout oath and law. A scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, brave, clean, reverent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, like some courteous.
Daddy.
But on my honor, I'll do my best. That's what it means, to do your best. To obey the scout law. To help other people at all times. To keep myself physically fit, mentally awake, and morally straight. Live by your scout law.
It worked hard. Yeah. Thank you. Wait. He says that's me. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
As a commissioner, I used to speak at Blue and Gold with banquets all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Stand up 6.
You know, I think that you had told me what you wanted to tell me about the arrow, the Order of the Arrow. I know that my friend Bill Kent is a member Order of the Arrow. He had mentioned a bit about the ordeal, the keeping Silas.
You have to want to be a member. Don't just see a deal.
Sure.
You've got to believe in the principles. You've got to believe in serving others.
You also, you're kind of invited in, aren't you? It's not something that you can request to be part of.
That's right.
And that was doing bad.
You can tell the people on your committee, on your troop, that you'd be interested in becoming a member of the OA. But then they have to discuss it and put your name up to the council,
Right.
the district.
Right.
And then the district has to approve it. It goes to the OA, and then you go through. Then you have to be there for tap out
Right.
at the camporee. It's always done in camporee. And then you follow up by going through the ordeal.
Yeah.
Taking the time of going through it.
First grade fever.
All right. Well, one of the things, the last thing I'm going to ask you, and we'll break, is that I'm going to make sure to share this. I'm going to take also all of this tape and make a full copy, and give this to your family. And I don't know if this is an opportunity that you want, something that would not be on any tape that is involved with scouting.
Probably appreciate it because it's probably the last big interview on scouting I have.
I thought that this would be a
Last time I could beat the drum for scouting.
But I also for the personal, for your family.
Oh yeah.
If there's something that you wanted to put down, that would be private for your family only, not involved with scouting.
All I can say that really be private to the family is this. I have truly appreciated the support that I have received from my good wife and that she taught the children to be that for my involvement in scouting. I always see it in one daughter because she is supporting her husband as a scout leader.
Corridor.
And they talk about the things that we did when we went camping, which was actually Boy Scout camping. I really do feel that scouting was an important part of my raising my family.
Well,
Just
for
my wife was a non-camper, but she's gone with me on it.
well, isn't that the beauty of a good marriage? Is that you go through, you even enjoy and sharing the things that you don't personally enjoy with your partner.
No, yeah.
bye.
Well, nice.
Well,
Marianne will appreciate that. And Betsy will too.
well, like I said,
I have truly appreciated the support that I had received on Good Wife and that she taught the children for my involvement in scouting. I always see it in one daughter because she is supporting her husband and the scout leader. That was, they talk about the things that we did when we went camping, which was actually Boy Scout camping. I really do feel that scouting was an important part of my raising mission. I want the spins.
well, for
My wife was a non-camper, but she's gone with me on it.